everyone needs to have authority and rights over their own brain. And if you cannot have, I'm not saying control your brain, you can never control it, but if you don't have access to it the way an app has access to it, it really will mess your life up. And it's important that as creators
Yeah.
and as people who are putting content out on the internet and spending significant time, we are aware about this and we raise awareness about this.
Yeah.
Na 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 na. Garbage Head, bringing hot garbage to you every week, month.
We're going to try as hard as we
We'll
can.
try. Okay, so tell me if this sounds like you, because this is definitely me, okay? Like, if I open my feed on Instagram right now,
Okay.
it's gonna be war, people dying, people
Right.
starving.
Yes.
Then it'll be ads
Yes.
for jeans, lipstick, makeup. Then it'll be one creator who's baking a cake.
Yes.
Then some cat.
Yes.
Then some edits of some show that I might have watched.
Yes.
Right? It's like
100%.
and then news of Taylor Swift getting engaged.
Add a bit of interior.
Okay, you
for
set
me,
up a house.
and that's my real content.
For me, you specifically add episodes of The Summer I Turned Pretty because I've been watching it. So now there are edits that I'm getting of old Bollywood songs with Belly and Conrad. Very niche reference, not actually niche. Reference for people who've been watching the show.
I have no clue.
But very niche edits because I like old Bollywood songs and I like the show. So I'm getting edits of that on my feed. Like someone is creating these. So, but that is what it is. And
Yes.
you know what? Every 5 to 10 seconds, my emotion is changing. And by the end of it, I'm so fogged out. My brain is not working. I don't know.
No,
how to
I
feel.
understand. Like you're switching from, oh, you care about the war to, oh, I want to make this. I'm craving this food now. To, oh, I think I should buy this interior item. So, and at the end of it, you've not done one of those, and you just come out questioning your life.
Yeah, and so we really throw the word ADHD around a lot, right? Like ADHD, this. I do that all the time. Also because I think I have it, but
Everybody thinks they have it these days.
yeah, and we throw the word around, but what I'm coming to realize is that it may not be ADHD because that's a proper psychological classification of sorts. It may be this thing called dopamine dysregulation. And dopamine
So
dysregulation.
just like fucked up dopamines.
Yeah, it just means that your dopamine levels are crashing. It's like, okay, SpongeBob is on cocaine over here. This is what your brain looks like on dopamine.
This is the interpretation of what your brain looks like.
Honestly, this is what you would look like if you consume a lot of social media.
Yes,
After the
doom
pod.
scrolling for an hour.
Seriously,
leaves you
his
like
eyes are like that.
SpongeBob has been doom scrolling a lot these
Yeah.
days.
So, I mean, yeah. So it's dopamine dysregulation of that sort, where because you're consuming so much information, your brain is crashing out, like Justin Bieber a little bit. Okay, it's crashing out fully in terms of what it needs to retain, what it needs to give, and it's feeling so intensely for all these things, it doesn't know what's going on. And what has happened is that your threshold for getting entertained or your threshold for feeling anything. Now, entertained
To
is
even
a
be
positive
interested
word.
in something.
Yeah, entertained is a positive word.
Yeah.
But what I mean by entertained is that your threshold for feeling emotions
Yeah.
has really shot up.
Yeah.
Like it has to be drastic for you to feel something, you know?
And it has to be instant.
Yeah. And do you notice this with the news as well? Because I do. Like if it's news about a murder or robbery, I'm like, okay, bro. Like,
Yeah. It almost seems insignificant.
yeah, it has to be mass scale horrible for you to
Yeah.
feel something about it.
Exactly. I get that.
Because you've stopped feeling.
Yeah.
And, this is what,
Overexposure
It's-
to information.
it does for
constant
you.
information.
yeah, and this is the kind of, okay, without, going into much detail in the intro itself, this is what the episode is going to be about.
Yes.
And we're going to be talking about how doom scrolling essentially fucks with your brain to the extent that you don't feel anything anymore. And we're going to talk about ways in which you can deal with it and get better with it. And yes, it's a little bit of an educational episode. We're trying to keep it as light as we can,
Yes.
but give
And
us some
to-
grace. It's 2 a.m.
To everyone that says this is how it is, this is how life is going to be, it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to live in the fog.
Yeah. What's going on in the back end?
I feel like our brains are not built for so much overload of information,
Yeah.
and it's the constant scrolling is just feeding into our brains in a way that it's altering our pathways, it's altering even our memory for that matter,
Yeah, it is.
and our attention span. We're all
Yeah, I
seeing it.
mean, attention spans are as messy as they are. And like we mentioned, the threshold for activity in your brain or for your brain to feel motivated or interested is becomes so high and
Yeah.
so dramatic and drastic that when you're faced with a normal task, you're not motivated to do it. Like this happens to me all the time. Literally, what I try to do in the first hour of my work is go through my emails and Slacks and messages and
Emails are
respond to them,
very difficult.
and it takes some insane motivation to
Yeah.
reply to those emails, to those messages, to those Slacks, because your brain is just like, I'm getting out of here.
Which is very funny because the entire concept of getting a WhatsApp message or something like that is something that releases that dopamine because it's an instant gratification,
Yeah.
right? Oh, I got a message. Who texted me and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
like who sent me a reel? Yeah.
But the entire concept of like replying to these messages or whatever seems like a task.
It seems like a task, and it's also anything with some kind of longevity. Let's say you have to write a 200 word thing that you need to put up on LinkedIn for your job or anything of that matter. Let's say, oh, you know what's a good example for this? Cover letters. Cover letters when you're applying to jobs.
Yeah, can't do that anymore.
You really can't. I don't
You know,
think.
I mean, it's been a while since I applied to companies, but when I did, I used to just copy paste them.
Yeah, of course.
I would literally have one
I
template,
mean,
copy
it's
paste them.
another thing that cover letters seem a little unnecessary at some point.
Yeah.
Like, oh, write about us, like a fanfic. Why do you want to work with us?
I mean, I get the point. I think it's basically to show intention that you're
Because
just.
I need the money.
I get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
In this day and age.
Anyway, but writing it and the task in itself is so
Yes.
difficult. Let's say you're hunting for a job and it's literally tied to your survival as an individual, but you're still not going to be able to have that much motivation for it.
Yeah. Because your brain doesn't see it as important,
Yeah.
even though it is. But that level of um, dopamine that your brain releases when it sees something interesting, that's not there.
It's not happening, and so longevity is out of the window.
Yeah.
And the other thing that does happen though, because you are consuming so much content which is emotionally crashing you out, like literally in 10 seconds, is that you dissociate. And this, I have
Yeah.
started to become a little aware of this over the last few months, that
Yes.
if I've doom scrolled, and I tend to do this on like a weekend morning when I'm just lying down in my bed and I'm just like,
One after the other.
literally, like if I wake up at 9, I'm getting out of bed technically at 11 because
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah. We've all been there.
looking at reels,
Yeah.
right? So, what does happen is that when I actually put my phone down and get out of bed and try to do that, I feel lethargic.
Yeah.
Like I'm zoned out, lethargic. My brain is playing like 10 songs.
Because your brain is also overworked, right? From
Yeah.
feeling so many emotions one after the other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is dissociation that comes after taking in so much information. Your brain is just zapped out. Now
Yeah.
usually this is a trauma response. This is something that happens in significantly traumatic situations, an accident,
Yeah.
the death of someone close, grief, something like that, where your brain can't handle the intensity that is there, and
So
it
it
just
detaches.
it detaches completely. But
Yeah.
over here, what is happening is that every 5 to 10 seconds, you are introducing a new strong emotion to your brain, and it just zaps out after that. It doesn't want to be a part of this, and it goes away, leaving you numb. And this is this is the equivalent of like a post-nut clarity, but it's worse. It's
I
really
can't
bad.
believe we have equated this to post-nut clarity. But I get what you're saying.
Like one thing about me is that I will find patterns, even if they make no
and
sense.
sexual innuendos.
But it's like a death in your brain,
I get it. You call it the post-scroll death.
post-scroll death.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm sure this happens all the time. especially if you have nothing to do and no, like for me, if I don't have any external force, like I don't have a job to attend to or someone to meet or anything, like a Sunday, let's say a Sunday morning when I have nothing to do, technically nothing to do,
Yeah.
no responsibility, no showing up, I can scroll endlessly.
Mhm.
And what will really push me out of bed and get me out of bed is, oh, I'm hungry or I need to use the loo.
Yeah.
And only if it becomes extreme will I get up.
It's funny you say that you do this on weekends because I have noticed myself do this between tasks. And the entire day goes by sometimes and I don't realize how it goes by.
Yeah. I mean, this is honestly, you feel so overwhelmed with tasks after the point because you're not understanding where your day is going.
Yeah.
Because
But it's mostly
this eats in your time
yeah.
and it eats in your energy and effort. And after a day of doing not much, also you're feeling a little drained out emotionally. It's probably because you've spent so much time on social media
Yeah.
and subconsciously your brain is trying to understand what is going on. And the thing is, your brain is like a supercomputer. It's like the fastest computer in the world.
Yeah.
So it processes everything quickly. It retains what it needs to, kicks out what it needs to, and that's about it.
And
Yeah.
especially for us, because we work in this space,
Yeah.
it sort of becomes like a thing of you can easily make excuses for being online, right?
I
You
definitely
can,
do that
oh,
all the
I'm
time.
working, I'm researching, I'm doing,
This is work.
yeah, this is work. I
Yeah.
get that, but I think we need to also sort of draw boundaries there a bit.
It's a little difficult too, as
Yeah,
people who work in marketing. It is definitely difficult to figure out what do we need to do and how do we draw a boundary.
yeah,
It's a difficult path. It's difficult for anyone who is on this side of their careers.
yeah.
You can never be off social media. So what you only can do is to figure out a routine that sets you. But anyway, that is a topic for a different podcast episode.
I get it.
Maybe we should do an episode of how marketing people should deal with social media.
Yeah, but to any of you, other than that, like somebody that doesn't want to work, that isn't working in marketing, we do have a segment coming up later. So stay tuned for
Yes,
that.
and that is a routine
Yes.
that we're talking about. Anyway,
So I think what personally me and a lot of people that are watching will relate to is this one thing that is wrecked because of doom scrolling. It's our emotions.
yeah, everyone knows about attention, and I think attention gets more attention.
Yes, the irony behind that.
But we don't really talk about how our emotions as individuals have really messed up because of excessive screen time. And this is like we've mentioned before, this is happening because your brain is exposed to so much stressful information.
Yeah.
And it retains all the stressful information that it needs to, considering it thinks of it as a survival mechanism. It's an evolutionary thing that
Like,
happens.
for example, you see war related news, you see a flood somewhere, and your brain automatically thinks that it's important to you. But it technically isn't because it's happening in a different part of the world, which in a direct sense isn't affecting you,
Yeah.
but your emails are affecting you, your everyday life is affecting you.
If you forgot to do your groceries and you have to live off Maggie, it's affecting
It's
you.
affecting you.
But your brain is not putting those as important as, or categorizing them as, important as much as it is for these other things. And now what it is also doing at the same time is, because you're so exposed to such a big cocktail of emotions out there, is that it is disregarding any other emotions you may feel in real life. And that's
Yeah.
why you perpetually are a little bit dissociated and also a little bit apathetic. So
Yeah.
I've seen that, okay, what happens? You lose a job, you're fine, you cry for like a day. Next day you're scrolling on your phone, you're okay. Had a fight with your friend or your family,
Go
come
on your
back
phone.
home, scroll on your phone, you're fine after that. You're sad, watch,
You're
watch
basically
reels.
using doom scrolling as a way of
Getting out of your own negative emotions. If you have
a coping mechanism
a
of
coping
sorts.
mechanism, essentially.
And basically, if you're sad, you want to try to bring it back to that flat line. If you're happy, somehow it just comes back to that flat line. It's always a flat line.
And which is why I think when was the last time we truly felt intensely for something? Like, think about the time you were a child. If you picked up a book, let's say you picked up Peter Pan as a child, you would feel strongly towards, let's say, Peter Pan's character or, Tinkerbell's character, whatever. And what,
Supandi for all the Tinkle
yeah.
readers.
And every time something would happen to them in the book, you would feel for the character. You would feel that, oh, this is wrong. You would feel a strong sense of justice. You would feel happy, sad, excited, all of those things.
Yeah.
Nervous, you don't feel that way
And now,
anymore.
these days, what I've noticed is every time you watch a movie, say for example, you come out of it and you're like immediately to the next thing.
Yeah.
You don't sit in it and
That's a good point.
reflect
Yeah.
on that movie.
Yeah.
You don't sit in those emotions. You don't relate to the characters anymore. I've seen half the people in movie theaters scrolling while they're watching the movie.
That's so sad. You're paying for this.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you know what, and this is, a little bit off topic, but what really has gotten to me is okay, what is our basis of survival? It's food.
Yeah.
We watch reels while we're eating. For how many centuries and millenniums our ancestors and people have been happy about getting food in their
Food.
mouth.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
sparks so much joy in you.
Yeah.
And now you have very unconsciously Instagram, not you, Instagram, TikTok, all of those things have flatlined the joy out of eating.
Yes.
So much so that culinary activity is becoming an experience now. You are enjoying food only if you're stepping out in a certain ambience, which is great, it's enjoyable, but the basic food that's kept in front of you
Yeah.
when you're eating at home, it's always happening in a distracted state and you're just flatlined about eating.
Yeah.
And if it's messed up with you in that very basic level, it is messing up with you always. And I've read this, so there's this little off topic, but there's this little this researcher called Michael Pollan, and he works with food. And he has spoken about the first thing that people need to do to build a healthy body, a healthy gut, healthy mind, is to not eat with a device on.
Consciously chew.
Consciously eat and try to eat with other people. Don't try to eat alone. Don't try to eat, by filling the silences with media. And as much as possible, try to eat with other human beings, because food is a community thing. It's a communal thing. We have always ancestrally gathered with each other
Yeah.
to eat food.
And it's such a funny thing you mention. You read articles about this
Yeah.
because it goes back to yogic science as well. Every time we like when I did the yoga course, one of the very important things that we were taught since day one was to consciously eat.
Yeah.
We were not allowed to have any sort of like distractions when we were eating.
Yeah.
We were not allowed to even have books or reading material around us when we were eating.
Yeah.
And we were told to like feel everything that you were eating. Right?
Exactly. Taste everything.
Taste everything that you were eating. So
And we underestimate the power of food.
and guys, honestly, just try this. Try this with one meal at least, a home cooked meal. Just sit down, chew the food, try to taste the textures, the flavors, all of it. It's a beautiful experience.
It really is.
A small thing like food can bring so much joy to you.
It really can. And the thing is, we've underestimated it
Yeah.
to such a large extent because it's so accessible now to us.
Yes.
And that's why it's become a sidelined thing.
Yeah.
And now we've introduced media to it. The entire concept of chewing on or munching onto something when you're watching something, or just having your dinner with your favorite show on, it seems very rewarding, but it's really messing up with your brain, because your brain and your body would benefit a lot from just focusing on the food instead.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, little deviation, but coming
We'll
back.
come back to the topic.
Coming back to the topic, the next thing we did want to cover was memory. And we have spoken so far about how, attention and emotion have both been messed up because of this, but memory is something that I think it's very downplayed. And you don't understand that always. You only understand it in hindsight and retrospect that, oh, you suddenly don't remember things the way you used to. This is
Yeah.
happening to me a lot. I am
Same.
forgetting way too much.
Same.
And this is coming from someone like me who had really good memory up until a few years ago. And now I can barely, remember things that, okay, let's say last night someone told me to do something. I probably don't remember it by the next afternoon.
Yeah.
Unless I make a very strong mental note of it or it's in relation to someone, it's not there. And this is happening because so your brain's memory card, your storage, is called hippocampus. And your hippocampus retains everything that is important to you, okay? And it retains long-term memories, short memories. It also puts in memories in your subconscious where you can take it out much later in life,
Whenever
maybe
needed.
random things about your childhood. You won't
Yeah.
remember it right now, but in that time, space and setting, it will come back to you. So it really categorizes. It works super hard to do this. And what we've done is that we have been bombarding it with so much information about so much random stuff in the world that our brain thinks it's important. Now, information is going to your brain is saying, oh, war, oh, flood, oh, government distress, oh, famine in the world, oh, stress, oh shit, lipstick I don't have, pants I don't have.
It's the basic
Yeah.
thing of we've all learned this in science back in school, right? Fight or flight.
Yeah.
And all this information about news and war and famines and all of that is a flight or fight response, which your brain thinks is more important than
Your work.
yeah, sending an email.
Yeah.
Will go back to the same thing.
Yeah.
So, or like checking another thing in the to-do list, right? So
Yeah.
it sort of categorizes it that way.
And what it does is that it sends these files to your hippocampus and tells them that, hey, these are the important stuff that's out there, retain it. And now your memory is stored with this shit. It's like your iCloud or your gallery, and it is just screenshots of maybe one or two of the same things, and nothing useful is in there.
Yeah.
And now it's just cluttered. Your memory is cluttered with it. You don't remember the actual stuff you need to remember.
Yeah.
And you're losing out your thinking capacity, or you're losing out on your retention,
Yes.
right? And that's kind of where you come to. It's not a conscious thing. You will
not a
never
conscious thing.
identify it in the moment of it, but a few years will go down and you will see that you're just not the same person anymore.
Yeah, because it's not a overnight change, right? It's
Yeah.
small things, small habits changing every day.
Yeah.
So I think eventually now we can say 3 years down the line that 3 years ago my memory was better, but now it's not.
It's really not.
But through this process, we never realized what happened or how it happened.
Which is fair. So, yeah. So, yeah,
Okay.
let's not pretend any of this is accidental.
Not at all. Everything is designed for you to consume it. They have put tons of science behind making content or curating content that you will spend hours
Consuming.
not
It's-
even like consciously watching.
Yeah, it's a lot of neuromarketing and firing up neural pathway formulas that are being used over here by big media, big tech. And the what do they have in it? The stakes for them are not just your money, of course, they want your attention, your time, your loyalty, your emotions to be attached to them. Right?
It's the thing that Netflix said, I think, recently quoted, saying that their main competitor is the customer's sleep
Yeah.
and not any other brand.
Yeah.
Which is a
because
crazy thing to
they
say,
don't
right?
care about anything else except your time.
Yeah.
So if you are sacrificing your sleep to watch Netflix, which
Then they are
all of
benefiting
us
from
do,
it.
then they are benefiting. They
Yeah.
are making money out of you. And these are casinos that you're carrying around in your pocket. You would think that you're away from the gamble, but you're always a dice that is being rolled around.
So, like the next time you're binge watching a show overnight, just know that you're not winning here. The big brands are.
Yeah, it's them winning.
Yeah.
All you are getting is a sense of somewhat of a satisfaction, because let's be honest, none of these shows are actually satisfactory. There's a formula that they're making these by, okay? And you would have noticed, so we have these complaints around. We have these complaints in Bollywood, we have them in Hollywood, that, oh, movies are not the same way they used to be, series are not the same way. Like
Because
they
they're
they
not.
just don't hit the same.
Because
Yeah,
they
don't
don't.
hit the same, not because you're just grown up now. They don't hit the same because the formula is different now.
Because they're intentionally made to not hit the same way.
The
They-
idea is that you make, or at least for for Netflix and so many OTT platforms, the blueprint is that the content is digestible.
Yeah.
It has to be something that is easy to follow through.
Yes.
So that if you are lying, if you're horizontal on your couch and you're watching it, and you have your phone in your hand and you're scrolling side by side, you never lose the plot.
We've all heard the term second screen, I think, by now.
Yeah.
We all know that these Netflix is making shows
To be on the second
be on the second screen,
Yeah.
right? Which isn't like important enough. Like the plot lines are not thick enough. The story is not that great.
Yeah.
It's just enough.
It's just enough for you to follow through easily
Yeah.
without feeling like this is so draggy and this is so long and I'm just going to skip it and I'm not going to watch it and all of that.
Yeah.
So it's entertaining enough in that capacity. It keeps you hooked in that capacity because it hinges on very basic emotions. It's not even overcomplicating a lot of these emotions. It's going after things like your security, your safety, your, in different ways.
Yes.
Your love life, whatever. Stuff that is very important to you as a human being, going after your emotions and just,
In a very basic way.
and just making digestible content
Yes.
that you can have as background noise. Most of the content out there is background sound.
Yes.
You're not going to get a lot from it. I'm not talking about getting value from it, I'm talking about even entertainment. Entertainment is just not as entertaining.
And also just coming out of it feeling like not feeling like you wasted your time.
Yeah, it's just, and that's why it is one of those things that it's great to be conscious about it
Yeah.
after the point. And this is our exact point over here, is that next time you have something on, try to actively consume it. I think we're making everything sound super hopeless.
Yeah, and we're not here to do that.
We're really not here to do that. We just go down the rabbit hole sometimes.
But this is a
But-
serious topic. This is an important topic to talk about.
It is an important topic, and that's why what we have done is that we have picked out the most sustainable things that you can do to build a life where you can live in coherence with social media, because the reality is that you can't live without it after a point. You really can't. It is seeped into everything, right? So you are going to get bombarded with ads everywhere you go, and you're also going to get bombarded with social media everywhere you go. So what can you do? You can't quit the apps per se,
But you can consciously consume.
and you can build a sustainable life around it.
And how do you do it? Like, obviously, you need practical help, right?
Yeah,
You can't just-
it can't be like, oh, it's bothering you, don't consume.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
But what you can do is, for example, number one, indulge in like a long form content.
Yeah.
So instead of just watching 30 seconds, 60-second reels, put effort into watching longer format. Maybe a 20-minute YouTube video, a 1-hour podcast.
Our podcast.
We would love it if it was our podcast. But any form of, like if you have it in you, just watch a podcast and not just as background noise, but consciously sit down and watch it.
Yeah. Like, in addition to this, the only thing I want to say is that so often we mistake social media to be Instagram
Yes.
or anything of that sort.
Yes.
But social media exists beyond it.
Yes.
Medium, sometimes Reddit can also
Yes.
get a little, difficult to manage and stressful. But Medium has a platform, YouTube. All of these platforms have options for you to consciously take in longer form of content. Now, if the only way to go about it is to build endurance, get your brain's elasticity up again.
Yes.
And what can you do? Instead of try slowly, perhaps, instead of starting off with, okay, today I'm going to watch 20 minutes of this podcast and learn something from it. It's going to bore you. Don't do that. Instead, try to start with smaller things.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always have to be something you learn out of.
Yeah.
Except that social media is an entertainment platform. It will
Yes.
make it easier for you to.
Yeah, don't go on looking for information.
Don't search for
just
value.
because people ask you to learn from social media.
Yeah, if you have value that you are specifically searching for, if there is a topic you really want to learn about, search for it. But don't go in consuming random value content, because
Yes.
that is only going to stress you out even more. It's counterproductive.
Yeah.
What you should probably do is understand that this is an entertainment platform, and now try to increase your entertainment threshold. Instead of taking entertainment for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, be like, I'm going to get myself entertained for 20 minutes today, but I'm going to be very conscious about my entertainment. So I'm going to sit between 8 o'clock to 8:30 and I'm going to watch this thing, and this is going to be my slot to get entertained today. And for the rest of the day, yeah, I might consume a little bit, but it's not going to be my slot for entertainment, as I
And-
have other things to do.
I know some people that can't even watch longer reels, like beyond 30 seconds,
I can't sometimes.
beyond 20
I have to
seconds.
fast
We all
forward
know that.
them.
Yeah. And obviously Instagram started
Fast
the
forward.
fast forward now, so that's getting even shorter. But
Yeah.
the next time you come across a 90-second reel or a minute or like 5-minute reel, sit down and watch it. Don't scroll past it. Just consciously watch it. Maybe that is an exercise that you can do instead of like getting so flustered by a longer format content. Just sit down and watch it.
And that's the easiest way to build endurance.
Yeah.
A little bit more challenging step would be to pick up something to read, because reading takes a lot of effort now,
Yeah, reading is good.
and it's not as simple as it used to be. So
I think
maybe
what-
start with that.
What helped me get back into reading, and there are a lot of creators that say this as well now, is try to read something that is entertaining.
Exactly.
That is what reading was initially.
Yeah.
Now reading has become more of a
Value
you need to
now.
get something out of it. You need to learn something out
I
of it.
blame the bros for it, honestly.
Yeah, you don't need to
Because they
learn
can't
from
read one
everything.
romantic novel.
Yeah, entertain yourself.
Yeah.
I'm reading a horror comic book, so it's
Seriously.
hilarious. I'm enjoying every bit of it, and I think after a very long time, this is the first book that I think I will finish.
Exactly.
So pick up something that you know you will enjoy.
yeah.
Don't try to stress yourself into something that other people are doing.
I picked up books like Sapiens and whatnot, and although they are extremely entertaining, very difficult to finish, and I had to do it in parts. The minute you hand me a book like, like I used to read so much of Mary Kate and Ashley's, or like Nancy Drews. I don't know, I used to love those little girly romantic
Yeah.
books. I really don't mind them. I have no shame in admitting that they're entertaining.
And it's not shameful. It doesn't have to be
Yeah,
shameful.
I will absolutely lap them up, finish them in like a week, and feel like great. And yeah, it doesn't have to be a value that is being added to your pocket every time. And please stop listening to your male colleagues if they tell you that this is going to be like,
Yeah.
fuck them and their psychology of money.
Yeah.
Got personal. But yes. Which comes to my second point:
Mhm.
indulge in human beings, and I don't mean fuck around with them.
We
That-
can't stress this enough. She does not mean fuck around with them.
What I mean to say is indulge in them as a human being, as in listen to them, actually
to
listen
them.
to them, talk to them.
Keep your phones aside.
When was the last time you went for a meal with your friend or family and you actually listened to them without picking up your phone? What the most annoying thing, and some of my friends do this, is when I'm sitting across to them and talking to them, and they're just like,
Yeah.
I'm listening. Like, no, bitch, you're not.
You're not.
You're not.
See, it is. I think it's scientifically proved. I could be wrong. Just somebody find out. But I think it's scientifically proved that a human brain cannot multitask, but it can perform tasks alternatively quite fast.
Yeah.
This I saw on some National Geographic show. One of
Should be
those
right if
science
it's on
shows.
National Geographic.
Hopefully, somebody find it out. But that's the point, right? Like,
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, indulge in people in the sense, even go out to public spaces. Try
Yeah.
to maybe don't order from Blinkit the next time. Go to a hypermarket. Go to your local DMart. See how people are behaving. What are they picking up? What are they dressing like? What are they looking like? What are they? How are they talking to each other? Have a conversation with the cashier and be like, discount nahi hai kya? Like, have something.
fight with the cashier for once.
Why not? Be like, your machines never work. Yeah. Say something.
Yeah.
Don't be like a dead man walking in the shadows all the time. Get out in public. If nothing else, just go to a park. Sit in the park.
It is amazing what a 15-minute walk outside can do to a human being.
Which comes to our next point,
Yes.
which is aim to step out of it. And I cannot insist this enough for
And
people
do
who are
go
working
out.
from home.
Yes.
If you're working from home, if you're a freelancer, a creator, if you have one of those jobs where you have to be indoors, please get out of your house. I know it's annoying, half our cities are flooded and the other half is in like traffic. But still, get out for at least 15 minutes a day consciously and try to do this without a device. So
Yeah.
go for the walk, but don't listen to podcasts, don't listen to music. Don't try to hack every minute of your life. And if anyone is telling you to behave like that, slap them. That's how
And
you
not
indulge.
every moment of your life has to be productive
Or hacking.
or hacky.
Yeah.
It just has, just exist for once.
Stop trying to hack your life. What's the point? You're gonna die. Everyone is gonna die. Have a life that is memorable.
20 minutes later.
The bouncers of hell.
They don't care. They'll fry you nonetheless. अच्छे से बेसन लगा के. So
Anyway, coming back to the point.
coming back to the
Just
point.
go on a walk.
Stop trying to make your life productive.
Yeah.
You're only making it unproductive by doing that.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Coming to our next point, try to get longevity out of things. By this we mean try to avoid instant gratification, replace it by delayed gratification. Because it is so significant and important in improving the quality of your life when you actually work for something you achieve. Most of the content we create is making us feel rewarded by instant gratification, but we've done nothing to achieve it.
Yes.
How do you do that? You get into a hobby that you actually have to work towards. Maybe, like I've seen people who crochet are very happy.
I picked up embroidery recently.
You picked up embroidery.
I mean,
Yeah.
I picked it up a while ago,
Mm.
but yeah, it's great. It's
It's
fun
great.
to do it.
Because you're only getting the result much later. Pick up a book.
Yeah.
When you finish it, you're going to feel great. I enjoy cooking a lot.
I love cooking.
And it's great because
And
there's
cooking
a
is
process to
such a space to just
have fun.
exist and feel peaceful. And I feel, at least for me, in my everyday life, that time where I'm cooking is where I genuinely feel at present.
Yeah.
Because I'm not thinking about anything else. If I do, my stove is burning. So I can't think about anything else.
There is no, and your body is happy and present in doing it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be something that will 100% reward you. So try to delay your rewards and try to actually deserve your rewards. A disearned reward, something you haven't really worked towards, is never actually going to satisfy you. It's only going
It's
to
very
make you
momentary.
feel fleety and it's going to make you feel dissatisfied in yourself. So it's just not worth it. So we can move to our next segment, the dopamine diary, which is an easy way to just keep a check.
What is the dopamine diary?
The dopamine diary is
As
essentially,
the name suggests.
as the name suggests, it's a very physical tracker or diary that is regulating your dopamine hits so that you actually have healthy dopamine hits coming at you like every day instead of the way it happens. So it's very simple. You can make it, ideally you would make a weekly tracker of sorts and put down everything that you definitely need to do, want to do, would like to do over there. Okay, and allocate it to the days. Don't have to put a time, this, that. Let's say you want to do groceries on Monday, want to wash your hair on Tuesday, want to meet a friend on Wednesday, go for a walk on Thursday, and apart from whatever specific work tasks you have, put them all together in an actual physical tracker you can carry in your bag all the time. And what you do is, as soon as you finish it up, let's say you've done groceries, you've done your hair, take it out, cancel it out. That's it. What this will do is instantly give you the dopamine fix that you need to make you feel motivated enough to do the next thing. And I've seen this happen so many times that, okay, you wake up a little early in your day and you do that one thing that you were dreading to do.
Yeah.
And
And you have energy for the entire day. Because
Exactly.
you feel like you can conquer anything.
Exactly. For me, it would be a physical activity because I consciously try to put a workout in the middle of, in my day, every single day. And it doesn't happen most of the times. It won't happen because you really have to motivate yourself to do it, especially after a long day of work
Yeah.
and all of that. But if I do that, and that being my most difficult thing, first thing in the morning, get it out of my way, I am so focused for the rest of the day and I do not have any issues with myself. I am not ending the day feeling like this day was a waste. That
Yeah.
feeling is not coming to me. So it's important to keep a track of these things and you keep using, because at the end of the day, you are doing things that you're doing for yourself at home or whatever. Keep a conscious record of it. You'll know how much your brain and body is doing to keep you alive
Yeah.
and how much you're surviving.
And remember this one thing, guys, because at the end of the day, you might feel like this is a lot of effort that you're putting in for everyday things, but this is work that you have to put in to do better for yourself and show up better for yourself.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if you are giving away so much of your brain to big media platforms, you have to be aware of where it's going, and you also have to be aware of the fact that this is not always benefiting you, and down the line, this is going to mess up with you. And if today you have all the knowledge in the world, that means you also have all the responsibility in the world to deal with that knowledge
For yourself.
for yourself, because not everything is important to you, and not everything is, relevant
Affecting
to
you.
you, and not everything is affecting you. Things are not relevant. You don't need to know everything about everything. Even if it comes to you, you don't need to know it. That's about it. And yeah,
That's from us today.
that is from us today.
A very serious episode.
So we hope you've sat through it for the sake of your brain. At least you sit through it.
And we hope you take something back from here. We know this might not be entertainment per se, but this was important to be said.
And we tried our best to make it into.
Yeah.